then you surrender, because then Krishna will take the actions for you. So that's the first point I wanted for you to keep in mind. Just gonna wait for the start to... So I've said earlier that resisting prolongates frustration and pain. When you resist Krishna's plans or what Krishna wants for you, it will prolongate your sense of frustration and pain. And so one thing that I wanted to add on that is that Krishna knows what you want. Actually, he knows what you want better than you know yourself. Someone who is inclined towards something that's not necessarily good for them, for example, you really want to do drugs, like you really want to do it, you think that that's going to make you happy. It's actually, there's nothing to be judged there. You're looking for happiness, and that's the way that you find can bring you happiness. Krishna knows that doing it won't actually bring you the happiness that you're seeking. But he also knows that the reason why you go for it is because you're looking to be happy. And so he's going to let you do it. He's going to let you do it because he wants you to be happy, and he wants you to realize that by doing it, you're not going to get the happiness that you're looking for. So things will happen in your life where you'll try to get something and Krishna will let you have something, and then you'll be disappointed. Or maybe you'll get some reaction for some bad action that you did. I don't know, like any example. Like, I mean, this is a very hardcore example, but you know, there are people who kill other people out there, and it's their desire to kill other people, and then they get a bad reaction from it. And that's a big example, but there's also small examples, like you are diabetic and you take a piece of cake, then there's going to be a reaction. So the way that your desire manifests is kind of a perverted version of a genuine desire of your soul. Whatever it is that you do, whatever the desire is, however dark, is just your soul trying to look for happiness, but because of your conditioning, you're looking for it in a way that's maybe not really healthy. And so the reaction that comes is not Krishna telling you, you don't deserve to be happy, or you don't deserve your heart's desires to be fulfilled. It's Krishna telling you, this is not how you're going to get it. Like, this is actually not going to work. And so I want to show you how it's going to work, because I want you to have your heart's desire. He wants you to be happy. He wants you to feel loved. He has your best interest at heart, always. Krishna always has your best interest at heart. So no matter what situation you find yourself in, whether you get what you want or don't get what you want, Krishna is only teaching you how to fulfill that desires in a way that's actually sustainable, and that's Krishna consciousness. The best thing to do when you're in such a situation where things seems out of hand and you feel hopeless, and you're longing for something and you just can't have it, is to accept and surrender to Krishna, because he's going to lead you where you want to be, but he's not going to make you take your own path. He's not going to make you follow your own perception of how you can get there. He's going to make you go his way, because his way is the actual best way, is the way that's actually going to bring you to your heart's desire. He knows that. Okay, one thing I wanted to say earlier is that you remember how I said that separation is an illusion, and it only comes from false identification with the body. And what you're craving by whatever it is that you're pursuing is actually not separate from you, because it's found in your relationship with Krishna. So what you're looking for, whenever you strive for happiness, whenever you strive for pleasure, what you're looking for is Krishna. You just don't know. You don't know because you forgot. So you're looking for love, you're looking for reciprocation, you're looking for fulfillment, you're looking for eternal happiness in so many things. Really, you're looking for Krishna. And when you get attached to something or to someone because they bring you something, that's something that it brings you, that pleasure that it brings you, it's Krishna. It's Krishna because it comes from him. And so Krishna will arrange things into your life so that you come to that understanding that in fact you're looking for him. Like everything that you strive for, everything that you go for, everything that you run towards and that you crave is him, but you don't realize. So he's gonna arrange all these events and it's gonna seem like a lot of suffering, but actually it's just redirecting you towards him. Towards finding what it is that you want with him, because that's where you can really be happy. And that's where he wants you as well, with him. So now, practically speaking, when you're in such a situation where you don't have what you want, like Krishna's taken something away from you or someone away from you, three things from the verse earlier. Do not lament, carry on worship, brings them together and disperses them, right? We've covered it a little bit, like why I'll go more with why he brings them together and disperses them, but we've got carry on worship. I was saying carry on worship to be protected. I'm not going to go too much into that because I don't think I have time, but carry on worship, because as you carry on worship, you remember your relationship with Krishna. So what does Krishna want? He wants you to remember that what you're looking for is him, but that you're looking at the wrong place. When you engage in Krishna Bhakti, when you engage in worship of Krishna, your soul starts to remember your relationship with him. And so as you carry on worship, rather than focusing on those material things that you want, that you feel you're lacking, you focus on your worship with Krishna, and then gradually you remember, like, oh, like that's what I'm actually looking for. And so that's why do not lament is here. Do not lament, from what I understand, doesn't mean don't cry, don't feel pain, don't do, you can't prevent yourself from feeling however you're feeling. You might feel sad, you might feel heartache, you might be in a lot of pain, and that's something to be accepted because repressing feelings won't make you move forward. Do not lament means do not stall. When you get stuck into those negative feelings of desperation, hopelessness, heartache, pain, you stall and you prevent yourself from actually making the progress that Krishna wants you to do. And so when you carry on worship, rather than staying stuck into that pain, you allow yourself to move in the direction that Krishna wants you to move into, because he wants you to realize him and your relationship with him, and that allows you to remember him gradually. So feel the pain that you need to feel the heartache that you need to feel, but don't stop your spiritual progress. Keep worshiping, even if you don't feel like it. Just be courageous. Just be courageous. Not step over the feeling, feel the feeling, but keep going. Keep your practice strong, because that's going to nurture your relationship with Krishna, and that's going to take you out of your misery eventually. Because Krishna, seeing that you're following him, will give you your heart's desires. He will arrange things for you. When you surrender to him and you stop trying to make things happen for yourself, he makes things happen for you. You just have to let him. Just have to let him. Now, brings them together and disperses them. So Krishna brings people together. Why? For a purpose. There might be something that you can learn from that person. There might be something that you can teach that person. nothing else to be done here, and so he separates you. Or it could be that there's a need for a pause. There's a need for a temporary separation because you've all had probably roommates or a very dear friend that you always spend time with, or maybe you're married and you're always with each other. What would happen if you were always together and you never got time alone? Bad, right? It would go bad. Sometimes separation is needed because people need to reflect on what's happening so that they can have the realizations that they need so that they can keep moving forward in a better way. Sometimes separation is needed. And on that, there's a short story that I want to tell. I don't remember where it's from, but it's a devotee who recited it. It's the story of this Vaishnava couple, a very old Vaishnava couple who lived in a cabin, like alone in the woods. They don't have anything. They're very poor. And actually the only thing that they have is this cow. And they're surviving on that cow's milk. That's all. They have nothing else. So Krishna visits them in disguise. And they welcome him. They don't know it's Krishna, but he's disguised as a Brahmana. And they welcome him. And then all they have is a cup of milk. Literally, and they drink 1 cup of milk every day, and that's their only cup of milk, and they give it to the Brahmana. And then Krishna, in the form of the Brahmana, gets so pleased with them, and he leaves. And as he leaves, what does he do? He has the cow die. So the cow dies. The only subsistence of this couple who has nothing dies. And then obviously they don't have subsistence anymore, and so the Brahmana couple die as well, and they go back to Godhead. So why did Krishna take the cow away? Because the cow was the only remaining attachment of this couple to the material world. And so Krishna took it away so that he can take them back. So we understand now that Krishna brings people together for a purpose. He separates them for a purpose. And the feeling of separation itself is an illusion because we're not actually lacking anything because we all have our individual relationship with Krishna. How do we embody that in actual life? I mentioned it a little bit, but it's basically shifting this bodily identification to soul identification. And that's done through the process of devotional service. And in difficulty to put us to live the pain that's need to be felt while continuing worship is actually what's going to bring the result that you're looking for, because Krishna will bring in your heart's desires fulfillment in the best way for you. So letting go of control is really what's needed. Letting go of control and trusting that Krishna will arrange things properly, and then he will inspire you to take the actions that you need to take. It might come from within, it might come from a class, it might come from a devotee, but if you trust him and you depend on him and you let him control and decide how things must go rather than trying to make it happen yourself, he will guide you onto the best path. And you might stumble, like you might be confused, you might take some wrong actions, but when you're sincere, Krishna sees that and then he redirects you. So if you're doing something wrong, he'll let you know, and he'll let you know as well how to change that. It's just about continuing worship and trusting that you'll be shaped in who you're meant to be. So final point, heartbreak is not punishment necessarily. You don't have to see it like that. Heartbreak, pain, separation is your way back to Godhead. Yes.
I have an example of family affection and how it can affect negatively one's spiritual life. So the example is of my mother. So sorry, Mom. I've told some of you, but my mother is quite inclined towards Krishna consciousness, and over the last 13 years, there's been periods of time where I would stay with her for months on end, and during those times, she would basically become a devotee, chant japa every day, and read different books by Prabhupada. But of course, when we don't stay together, she can't sustain it. But she would also follow the four regulative principles. But then she has so much affection for her children that if my older brother makes something, she even beyond Krishna consciousness, my mother actually hates eating any kind of meat. But my brother would make certain preparations, and just as a mother, she would feel totally obliged to try and honor, so-called honor, whatever he made. So it's just so interesting that that affection can run so deep, and she fully understands and agrees with all the different parts of Krishna conscious philosophy and the lifestyle and things like vegetarianism. She understands the importance of it, but she just cannot say no to something my brother makes. I just always found that so fascinating.
Yes. Thank you, Gopi.
I found this verse, thank you for your class. As you were speaking, I was remembering this verse from Bhagavad Gita in the 3rd chapter. All living bodies consist of food grains, which are produced from rains, and rains are produced by performance of sacrifice. So, in terms of systems, that's what I was thinking about. Like when I was coming here this morning, there was persons crossing the street. There was a lot of traffic there. If I go out in the traffic, when it's not the time for pedestrians to walk across the street, and then I expect Krishna to save me. That might be foolish, because there's a system there already for my safe passage, at least crossing the street. So I don't have to go out in the street and hope Krishna to save me, etc. in that situation. So there's seemingly situations or systems that Krishna's already given us for our kind of directing, materially and also spiritually. So just how does that fit in with what you're presenting in terms of the continuing forward and
I think that everyone is like, okay. Obviously, there are systems which are already made that we are meant to follow, and Prabhupada made it very easy and clear for us to follow. One thing to understand too is that everyone has really complicated situations which are really particular to their own selves. And so if you yourself try to use those pre-made things and apply it to your life, you might struggle a lot because you might not know how to apply it in your particular situation, which seems very complicated. So if you have the guidance of a mentor that you trust and that you've seen for yourself is trustworthy, and you, with their help, find the way to apply the processes to your own situation, then you can be guided in the right direction. I wouldn't suggest to try to apply it to your own life by yourself, because that's likely to be done wrong, especially when you're in your own mind, like you're afflicted by a certain situation. It's hard to see things clearly. So yeah, just one last thing I wanted to add is that I said separation is the way back to God, but that doesn't mean that you won't ever have like what you want. If you trust Krishna, he'll give you what you want if it's good for you. Yeah, so just wanted to say that. I think we're out of time. Srimad Bhagavatam ki.